Hello WPF viewers, Skippy here, coach of the Steel City Surge, back again for WPF Week 8 in the Delta Division for Season 3. We are going to be taking on Wreck-It Mike and the Virginia Victinis this week, and let's get right into the team builder here. So, like I said, we're taking on Wreck-It Mike. He's currently top of the league at the moment with a very good record at 6-1 with a plus 20 differential, and for very good reasons. Looking at this team, Terra Annihilate with free Terra is disgusting. Deoxys speed is really fast and pretty offensive and can run pretty much any item, as well as very little speed for how high its speed is. Garchomp is always an offensive threat as well as very much a defensive threat. It can run hazards, it can run offensive. I believe it's gotten a large amount of kills for this team, so possibly an offensive set. Got to be a little weary of it. Scizor, very offensive threat. Moltres Galar, Rabombi for webs, free Terra Blissey for a very big special wall. Also Tentacruel, Rotom Heat, and Lycanroc Midnight. So getting into some key points for this matchup, like I said, free Terra Annihilate and Blissey are kind of problems, especially Annihilate. That thing is very annoying with Rage Fist, as well as setup, and its ability being Defiant is just really annoying, especially because we only have Defog as our removal, so got to be a little bit aware of that. And I think, honestly, with Defog being our only removal and going into Defiant Annihilate, it's not the worst thing in the world. It could definitely be so much worse, but we can work around it with Weezing and such. Some other key notes for this matchup: offensive monsters being Deoxys Speed, Garchomp, Scizor, Moltres Galar. Those things are threats, not just to mention Annihilate. Those other four mons can essentially take over the game at any single point. During mocks, Scizor and Moltres Galar have given me the most amount of problems. Garchomp, not so much, and Deoxys Speed, not as much as it possibly could. It really depends on what is brought and what everything ends up actually bringing for the matchup. So we got to keep an eye out for those guys and make sure we don't get backed into a corner where they're set up. I got to make sure that I am not allowing these things to get set up or do any massive damage to us, because that could be a problem. And then lastly, possible webs with Rabombi, and he has a lot of very good switch-ins. Very good ground switch-ins in Moltres Galar and Rotom Heat, as well as some very good coverage across the board in terms of typings and just bulk in general. So got to keep an eye out for all that stuff and make sure we get a very good lead and potentially just keep offensive pressure as much as possible. I think we can do that pretty well, but we'll end up seeing what happens here. Going into the team that we're bringing, we do have Darkrai. We're bringing a Choice Scarf Darkrai this week, so that way we can outspeed a max speed Deoxys. This should be able to outspeed that. And we're running Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Psychic, and Drain Punch. Drain Punch in case Blissey is brought but doesn't Terra. Essentially, this will two-shot Blissey and allow us to actually hit them on, as long as it's not Terra. If it is Terra, then we might run into a problem, especially if it resists fighting. But if it's at least neutral, we should be able to two-shot it. We are running Modest with max special attack to try to take advantage of the coverage that we have here with Psychic, Ice Beam, and Dark Pulse. Honestly, this thing is just meant to do damage. It's not a win con per se, but it's meant to do offensive pressure and force certain things in for certain matchups, or clean up and revenge kill something. Going into our next mon, we are bringing Low Kicks off the bench this week with a Choice Band with Tinted Lens Adamant Max Attack. This thing is meant to do damage. First impression is a very solid way of dealing with Deoxys Speed. It will do massive damage to pretty much every single mon. Even Scizor doesn't like taking any damage from this thing. So we are running more of a bulky set this week with a little bit of speed, just so we can outspeed some speed creeping mons that are very bulky. We are running Knockoff for stab, U-turn for momentum, and then Brick Break to stop potential screens that could show up. I did run into a screens Rabombi during mocks, and that caused so many issues, especially with Moltres. Allowing that thing to get Double Dance set up behind screens is really annoying, and hopefully we can use Brick Break to try to get around that. So this is mainly going to be our switch into Deoxys, as long as we don't see a superpower come out. Even if we do see a superpower come out, our bulkiness should allow us to live at least one, if not two, depending if we do see rocks come out onto the field. I don't know if I'll see that many hazards this week. If anything, I do expect to see webs, but we'll deal with that when we get there. The next mon for the team is Garganical. This will be our Terra captain for the week with Heavy Duty Boots and Terra Poison. The reason we're running Terra Poison, I originally had Terra Bug on this, and it did well until I had to face Moltres Galar, and that thing kind of just ran through me. So Terra Poison allows us to resist both. It allows us to resist the fighting moves from Annihilate, and we're not weak to any Steel type moves it might want to bring as well, in case he does expect Terra Fairy. And Terra Poison, obviously, Poison is not super effective against us if we're Poison type, so don't need to worry about Poison Jab or anything like that from Garchomp. Maybe an Earthquake, but why would we stay in on with Garganacl on Garchomp? That doesn't make any sense. We are running Purifying Salt as our ability, obviously best ability by far. We're running an Impish Nature this week with 80 defense and 252 HP. This way we should be able to take a lot of hits. 176 Spadef, just the rest of it, I think we needed more bulk as opposed to offensive pressure, and we can go over that in the moves here. We are running Curse this week, so that way we can boost that defense up even more and even give us an attack boost as well. I originally had Iron Defense and Body Press on this, but I decided I would like some other way to deal damage as opposed to Body Press, and Salt Cure is pretty effective into his team. I mean, pretty solid rock weakness all around. And residual damage from Salt Cure is always a great thing. I mean, we've seen that with Garganacl the last 2 weeks. It's picked up 4 KOs strictly from Salt Cure over the past couple of weeks. So I'm expecting to see some Covert Cloaks on some mons this week, especially on Annihilate. That's why I have knockoff on Low Kick, so we can get rid of those Covert Cloaks. I did run into 2 different mons that had that. That was the Rabombi and the Annihilate that had Covert Cloak on that. But we'll see what happens with it. We are running Recover and then Ice Punch if we do expect to see a Garchomp switch in, or it's another way to hit the Moltres Galar if it is Covert Cloak as well or something like that. So we have a nice way of dealing with either of those 2 months. So that's Garganacl for this week. Pretty solid mon. Should do very, very well for us. If we can get that off, if we do see a Rabombi lead, we can go ahead and Terra this right away and get off a Salt Cure, potentially a Curse. It really depends on what I expect to see. But yeah, we're going to get into the next mon here, which is going to be Wheezing Galar. This thing is our guaranteed switch into both Annihilate and mainly Garchomp. Garchomp, it runs through my team very much otherwise. If it does run Iron Head, we should be fine. I really don't see that being brought on it this week. I expect to see something like Swords Dance, Scale Shot, Earthquake, and then like final move, potentially Poison Jab for a Terra Fairy Garganacl. That could very well be what's brought. We're running Black Sludge for longevity with a Bold Nature, max defense, and a lot of HP, so that way we can get as much back from Black Sludge without wasting any EVs, and the rest going into special defense because I don't see any reason why we don't put it into special defense. We're running Strange Steam for offensive stab, and then Will-O-Wisp for limiting the amount of physical attackers on the other side of the field, mainly the Annihilate and the Garchomp and the Scizor. Even physical Deoxys Speed doesn't like taking a Will-O-Wisp, so we can utilize that to our advantage. Running Defog as well to get rid of any hazards, and then Destiny Bond in case we happen to get a little low and are potentially risking a knockout on the next turn, so that way we can try to take something out with us, or I don't know, see, like force something to switch out or something to do something else. So I've seen a lot of usage out of this during mocks, and it was very useful to force away. So going from Wheezing Galar, we are bringing Rotom Wash again this week, but we're bringing an offensive Rotom Wash. We're bringing Choice Scarf with 60 HP, max special attack. We are bringing a modest build. I did not mean to go to the next mon there. We're bringing an offensive build with modest max special attack, 196 speed. This will allow us to outspeed a speed creeping Deoxys onto Darkrai. Obviously, we have Hydro Pump, Thunderbolt, and Volt Switch for momentum, and then we also have Dark Pulse to take out no speed investment Deoxys speed. So I'm hoping that is the case. If it's not, then that's fine, but we would outspeed the majority of his team outside of that too, so that's also pretty solid. And then last mon, you saw it here in a minute ago, it is Skeledirge. We're going to be bringing the heavy duty boots out of wear. Pretty standard set, but we're going more physical defense. This is going to be our main check to see Scizor. We're running Torch Song, Hex, Slack Off, and Will-O-Wisp. I could have run like Protect or something, but I didn't think that was going to be as useful, because if we can get a switch in, if we can catch something on a switch in with Will-O-Wisp or something like that, that would be insanely good. But yeah, this is going to be the team for this week. So Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Go ahead and check out Wreck-It Mike's channel in the top right and in the description, as well as the other WPF coaches as well. They post some great content down there, and we're nearing the end of the season, so we got to make a playoff push somehow. We got to get a win this week. So this squad hopefully does the job. If anything, we maybe take a very close L. I think this is going to be a very close game all around. It really depends on what my opponent brings, but the majority of this team feels like we can get a win. So thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the battle a little bit later, and wish us the best of luck, because we're going to need it. Peace.